Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my monthly review for this month's issue of the Walking Dead comic book series. This is for issue 183 now. It's called And Michonne Without Her Sword. And spoiler warning, if you guys have not read this issue yet for the Walking Dead comic book series, definitely want to do my review for this month's issue. And this one went by pretty quick. It was, I think, a quick read through. But yeah, spoiler warning if you haven't read the issue yet. But don't worry, it doesn't include any major character deaths for any of our, survivors in the Walking Dead. So it's not really major spoilers. It's basically the continuation or what's happening at the Commonwealth with Michonne and Elodie. So that takes up the entire issue, and I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I think it's necessary. It's necessary for The Walking Dead to change as things go through here, and I've really been kind of enjoying the way, if you look at Fear the Walking Dead right now with the TV series version, I think it kind of shows why you can't just have it be a survival horror all the way through for hundreds of issues. The Walking Dead comic book series does need to change, and it needs to change in different ways. And in this issue, we see an issue that I could never picture seeing in the first 100 issues of The Walking Dead, right? This is a totally different version of The Walking Dead than what we're used to with Elodie and Michonne at the Commonwealth as being a part of this much larger group that has a lot more people in it and has a different type of social system where they have the class system where Michonne is basically a lawyer, so it works out well for her because she is in a high-paid type of role. So we get to see in this issue what that kind of looks like as she gets to kind of go, I want to say, on a bit of a vacation or retreat here to stay in a cabin at Greenville, which is one of their locations they have, which looks a bit like the ocean side, but it just reminds me of like a vacation spot you would go to if you want to go and stay in a cabin and go camping and do that kind of thing. We meet Cloris, who's kind of the hostess there, who has Michonne and Elodie kind of come in, stay, gives her all the, good food and stuff like this, and we get the impression that they have a good time. And then as she's leaving, she sees, another family with a couple kids that aren't able to afford, as part of the Commonwealth, really anything, like it looks like. So Michonne is given, because of course of her status and everything else, and them kind of maybe wanting to impress her or treat her well because she's their new lawyer, and they want to entice her, they want her to continue with them at the Commonwealth. They give her like a nice food package, right? So it's got like some expensive cheeses and wine, stuff like this. And this is something we don't usually see at all in The Walking Dead ever, right? This type of thing. And so she ends up giving it to the family kind of in need. So it kind of brings in kind of the difference here between the class systems, where you have maybe a smaller middle class in the Commonwealth. So you have it more polarizing, where you have the rich, when Michonne would be part of that, because of course she's a lawyer. So even in real life as well too, if you're a lawyer or a doctor, you're going to be part of that kind of upper class. But then as far as the people in the middle goes, we kind of get the impression that they don't seem to have maybe a lot of, they're not treated with the same kind of rights. They're not able to get the same kind of stuff. And then afterwards in the issue, we get a little bit more to see a situation between some of the officers and maybe the way they detain or treat people in something that comes up afterwards. But anyway, start of the issue, so we've got Michonne, Elodie, and Jerome, who is their Commonwealth guard who goes with them to Greenville. And, Michonne kind of is letting him know that he doesn't really need to protect them. She's good. She's got it. But again, And Michonne Without Her Sword is the title of the issue here. So, he's there with her and trying to protect them and whatever, but we get the sense he's not nearly as practiced as someone like Michonne is. So he goes out to kill a couple zombies. He quickly gets overwhelmed and kind of he's got the armor on, but they're like biting at him and stuff like that and taking him down type of thing. So Michonne interjects in a great scene, or a great, a few pages here, and blows down all the zombies with his assault rifle with ease, right? Because Michonne's a super badass, so I love that part, so that's great. Then we get the stuff with Greenville, like I mentioned. Michonne gives away the food, then they leave to go back to the Commonwealth, and basically we get a new storyline here with Anthony Keith, who is I suppose one of the lower class, or you could say the poor. one of the regular, people at the Commonwealth, it seems, and he got into a fight with one of the officers because one of the officers was apparently having an affair with his wife. So he got in a fight with an officer, and then the officers kind of gang beat him down, and rather than detaining him properly, handcuffs or whatever, he was basically beaten to death, or beaten to the point where they start even, the officers like hitting him in the head and stuff like that, swelling, and then he dies afterwards. So then Lance approaches Michonne to defend the officers. It's just like, who are in trouble now because people want justice for him, because of course, if someone is it's a tricky situation, right? This happens in real life too as well, right? Someone has an affair, right? And it kind of harkens back to the beginning of the series there with Shane and Rick and the stuff that was happening with that. So we get a situation here where she's asked to defend the officers, which, instead of the guy who's and this kind of speaks to, because you see some of this stuff in media too sometimes, right, where it's like, inappropriate, officers arresting people, but to the point where they can actually get hurt, right? So if someone's not really resisting arrest or just wants to understand what's going on, sometimes the police will get a little testy and they might take them down or like beat them down, and unfortunately sometimes people can get really hurt, which is something that happens in real life as well too. Well, in the zombie apocalypse, I guess, when there's no leadership around or whatever, it could be even worse when you have these newer kind of untrained, I guess, officers or people at the Commonwealth, and they really gang beat somebody down with their batons or whatever. Really brutal. So then he dies. So then all the people that are in the regular people, I guess you could say the poor, or just the lower class people, the regular people that aren't lawyers or whatever, where we get that kind of a sense that you get this kind of grouping, right? This social grouping between the two. Just the regular people kind of go crazy and riot as a result of what happened because they're outraged and are mad at Michonne because Lance has asked her to defend the officers involved in the situation, as they probably kind of smooth it over or try to cover it up or whatever, as if it's okay. And then you've got one of the people who actually throws like a garbage can through the window, and Michonne has to tackle Elodie away from it so she doesn't get hurt. So then you got the riot going on, and then you have Governor Pamela Milton at the end, who just gets back to see absolute chaos breaking out. You've got on the cover here, fire everywhere, Molotov cocktails, guys with bats, and a whole bunch of the officers there as well too, as everything just spirals out of control. Lots of fun. So I enjoyed the issue. I enjoyed the part where Michonne shows how badass she can be without her sword, and helping Jerome out earlier on that she doesn't really need protecting, which was fun. The stay at Greenville was decent, and then of course kind of the interesting situation that she's put into near the end of this issue here, which of course is not really, it doesn't have much to do with zombie apocalypse. It's like it's just a different type of situation. We haven't seen The Walking Dead before, and it puts Michonne in a situation where she has to question her values, and she's basically, and this happens of course in real life too, she's asked to do something as a lawyer that questions her values, and that's got to be one of the toughest, being a defense lawyer has got to be one of, they get paid well, right? But money is, if you have to defend somebody who is, like, for example, for defense lawyers, if they know somebody is guilty and they have to defend them, that is quite the difficult task to do, in terms of your core values, right? Because here it is questioning your integrity, because you're going to have to defend somebody that maybe is guilty, right? And even sometimes you can see this, that sometimes they'll just refuse to do it, or they'll tell them to plead guilty or whatever, because they kind of know that that the defendant did it, or if they really believe the person is wrongfully convicted, then of course they can, give it their all and defend the person. But in this case, you have Michonne being asked to defend somebody or people that she clearly disagrees with, considering she was willing to get in there and mix it up with them to try to defend the guy who was being, as she could see, beaten to the point of no return, or beaten inappropriately, overkill, or overly violent with regards to them just basically arresting the guy, just kind of taking it overboard, right? So it's definitely an interesting situation, and we'll have to see how Michonne deals with it, what she decides to do, and if she can go back to kind of the life before. I don't know what kind of lawyer she was before, what she had to do before, but being asked to defend somebody or people that she knows are guilty, how is she going to respond to that? How is she going to react to that? Is she going to be able to go with the grain and do what she needs to do, considering she's being put in a kind of a bad situation where she's going to have to defend people she doesn't believe in, and against people she really does feel sorry for. So I like the issue a lot. Different from what we're used to for Walking Dead, but a lot of fun. And if I make predictions, I tend to say that I think she probably won't do it, and as a result, that's probably going to cause some kind of a rift here between her and Lance and maybe Pamela. And we'll have to see how the whole situation works itself out, or doesn't, and Michonne has to leave or something. Love the issue. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Really fun stuff, and maybe in the spirit of the good old George Romero Dead franchise, is kind of maybe a bit of a commentary in some ways on regular life as well too, which was always one of the things that people liked a lot about his movies, is that the original Dead trilogy, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, they sort of always had some kind of commentary on regular society, right? As this issue does as well too. So for that, I really enjoyed it, and that'll be it for my review, guys. I hope you liked it, and let me know what you thought about the issue. I'll be back again soon. We got some new character portraits for The Walking Dead Season 9, so I'll have a video on that probably tomorrow for you guys. If you like this one, please thumb it up below. You can also share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And for those of you guys who did read the issue, let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.